Let's see, what would Svengoolie do? What would Svengoolie do?
Bob, we're on.
Oh, hi folks. Welcome to tonight's Nightmare Halloween Frightfest. I'm Madman Bob, and these are my co-hosts, Bat Dude and Asimov the Robot.
Hello.
What's the matter, Asimov? Too much oil?
Tonight's movie.
What? It's not that bad. In fact, it's so bad, it's good. And since I'm on the topic, tonight's maiden film is the infamous 1959 sci-fi cult classic, Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. San Fernando Valley is being invaded by aliens who plan on taking over the Earth by resurrecting the dead. One of the corpses coincidentally came dressed like Count Dracula.
Coincidence, you say?
Maybe they shop at the same haberdashery, proper goth.
Or perhaps he does his shopping at Sucks Fifth Avenue. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further introduction,
the movie that sucks enough without the aid of vampires.
Oh, quiet. Here comes Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Lights, camera, roll that puppy.
The heck happened? Did he puke himself to death?
In a movie like this, can you blame him?
Here's a little known fact. This movie had a direct sponsorship deal with a company that made relief medication for hemorrhoids. They even named one of the products after the movie. I'm afraid to ask, what was it called? Well, if you have terrible hemorrhoid pain, then be sure to stop by your local drugstore and ask for Prep H from Outer Space.
Ugh, that stinks worse than this movie.
Well, those are two things that belong in the toilet. We'll be right back, but first, a word from tonight's sponsor. Tired of your old, boring clothes? Do they make you look and feel draggy? Want to slip into something more stylish? Then swing by Astro Zombie and Fink with fashionable duds for men and women, like this sexy black V-cut dress that gives a tasteful peek that the boys will just die for. And for the men, we also have this vintage Dracula-inspired cape that provides a mystique that will send any woman's blood to a boil. But why not try something a little more out of this world, like our silvery suits, made with only the finest cotton with a tin-foil finish. For those looking for a more relaxed yet firm and regal appearance, try our felt cotton smoking jacket, guaranteed to give you the power to badly overact and chew up the scene wherever you are.
They cannot help but believe our powers when they see their own dead walking round again, brought about by our advancement in such things. As soon as you have enough of the dead recruits, march them on the capitals of the earth, let nothing stand in your way. Their own dead will be used to make them accept our existence and believe in that fact.
We're located all over the galaxy, and now we have an online store. Expect only 12 light years for delivery.
You know, it's an interesting thing when you consider the Earth people who can think are so frightened by those who cannot, the dead.
but still not as frightening as the dead acting in this movie.
And somehow Asimov the robot has more emotion in his acting than most of the human actors in this movie. However, a couple good actors did manage to slip in, notably veteran screen actor Bela Lugosi, whom you may know was most famous for playing the classic Universal monster Count Dracula, as well as playing in other Universal horror classics such as The Wolfman and The Black Cat, as well as reprising his role as Dracula in the 1948 horror comedy classic Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. However, the 1950s was a hard time financially for Lugosi, the reason why he appears in this film, as well as narrating another Ed Wood film, Glen or Glinda, for which it is reported he was offered $5,000 to do the picture, but it's speculated he only received $1,000. Another recognizable face is fellow horror show host Vampira, not to be confused with the later Elvira. Ooh la la, row! Keep your cowl on, young man. Vampira hosted a number of vintage horror movies in the 1950s, and was even in a few other movies herself, such as The Beat Generation. She was close friends with James Dean, and may or may not have been the inspiration for Natasha Fatale from Rocky and Bullwinkle. Hey, you know, that gives me an idea.
I'm on it. And now, here's something we hope you'll really like.
When we last left our zombies, they were wandering aimlessly around the countryside, scaring the locals under the control of their alien master.
Nope, just under bad director.
And we're not looking for a scare. We're looking for our managers.
Well, that's all the time we have. Stay tuned for our next episode, Brain Dead Zombies, or Brain Dead Script. Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's resume. And if you're wondering why that parody was so short, well, we're thinking of you. We're suffering enough as it is, we can only imagine how dreadful this schlock is for you at home, so why keep it going any longer than it has to? After all, I'm sure some of you might have somewhere to go after this.
Well, our ship should be regenerated. We better get started.
Well, let's go down and find out whose grave it is. How?
No, whose grave it is. I don't know whose grave it is. Whose grave? What grave? Whose grave? What are you asking me for? I don't know whose grave it is. That's the guy's name. Oh, absolutely. What? No, it's whose grave. I don't know whose grave it is. Right. Oh, never mind. It's time for Schlockbuster Jeopardy. Contestants ready?
Ready.
Ready here. Okay, Asimov, you first.
I'll take continuity for 200.
It's the same scene in the same cemetery, but every time the camera cuts to one of the two characters, this remains inconsistent. What is night and day? That is correct. Easy guess. Bat Dude, you are up next. I'll take celebrity trivia for 500. Take that, asinine automaton.
Did you learn that from watching reruns of Lost in Space?
Alright, he's one of the more famous actors in this movie, but died in the middle of production and was replaced by an actor who looked nothing like him. Who is, Charlton Heston? Ooh, not quite.
Charlton Heston?
Asimov, you want to give it a shot?
Who is Bela Lugosi?
That's correct.
Yes!
I just forgot the name, jeez.
Yeah, right. Talk to Siri. She might show you where to buy some bovine manure.
Alright, we're almost out of time for this sketch. Asimov, this next category goes to you.
I'll take acting for 300.
Okay? Since this is an Ed Wood picture, it only makes sense for it to have this style of acting.
What is wooden acting?
Correct! And Asimov takes home the prize.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
well,
well, if
you
I
think
was
you
a
could do
robot
better?
too, I
Well,
could have gotten the
I can
answer
zap
just
you
like
from
that.
here
It's
to
not fair
eternity.
that
You don't want
because you're
me
a robot, because
to-
you have access to all the information
You
in the
don't
world.
want me
Oh, you want to start something?
to
We can
show
take this
you
outside.
just how
You
bad I
can't
can be.
cause
You
a
want to see how
tantrum.
bad I can be? I can
Looking son of
destroy
a gun,
you. I can
But
smoke.
we now return to the movie. Hopefully Asimov and Bat Dude will resolve their differences. Yikes.
In my shoes.
Any day of the week.
Oh, you can
You want a
talk tough
piece of
and
me?
stuff like that.
Geez, for such an advanced race, you'd think they'd spring for doors instead of curtains.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. By the way, Bob, I have a question.
Yes?
For as long as you've been animating, what's your excuse for not springing for better animation?
So how are things between you and Bat Dude?
Yeah, I realized his geeky possessions were of no value to me.
Hey, I'll have you know my stuff is far more valuable than you. Come on, guys, let's just patch things up and try to... Shut up! Jeepers, will bite off my head, huh? We'll be right back. Like a vault.
Would you like to see? Next time you try that, I won't aim at the board. You're a headstrong young man. I was only going to turn on the televisor so you could see her movements.
Go ahead, my friend, but move very carefully.
My, aren't we being fancy? It's a televisor, not television. Right. Hey, Bat Dude, do you get the feeling we're being watched? Are you joking? Who'd be silly enough to watch our ugly mugs? Speak for yourself. Coming up is the conclusion to Plan 9 from Outer Space, but first, let's take some time to read letters, emails, and listen to some voice messages sent by you guys.
It's our first show. How do we have fan messages?
We're just that good, Asimov. We're just that good. Our first voice message comes from fellow Atlanta resident, Alex King.
Hey Bob, it's Alex. I'm just calling to see when you get off your turning those projects you promised me. We have deadlines, and you need to meet those deadlines. We have storyboards for Hell Incarnate to get done, and we have that damn Halloween special. And by the way, what the hell's taking you so long on that damn pilot for Who Loves You? I haven't seen a single bit of progress, and I demand to know when you're going to give me that. Well, have a great day. And get off your
Whoops. He sounded mad. Yeah, he'll be fine. But to answer your message, Mr. King, good art takes a lot of time to make and cannot be rushed. Besides that, you really haven't given us that much of a budget to begin with. Thanks for messaging. Our next letter comes from Arnold Sternweisner. Oh, and it's to me. and he writes, Dear Bat Dude, I love your show. I love you. You are the best part of the show. I think you're awesome. Keep being awesome. Love, Arnold Schwarzenweiser.
My sensors indicate that is not a real letter.
Yeah, well, how do we expect to have fan letters on the first show when nobody has an idea what this goofy show is anyway? Stupid idea is what it is.
I agree.
Quit your worrying. I promise we'll have fan messages from our loyal fans next week. Right, fans? If you want to send us written or voice messages, email us at nightmarehalloweenfrightfest@gmail.com or call us at 470-260-0920. If you do, you just might be forever disgraced by having your message featured here on this corny show. We look forward to hearing from you. And be sure to write for me too. I need the self-validation that only fan mail can provide. And now, the conclusion of Plan 9 from Outer Space. I wonder if there's anything good on this channel. Well, that was fun.
Whatever you say.
Well, I wouldn't say it was that bad. I mean, it had its merits.
Like what?
Well, any movie that has Elvira in it can't be all bad. Bat Dude, I told you once, it's Vampira, not Elvira. And besides, they're both old enough to be your grandmother. I don't care, they both still look fine.
You need a girlfriend, bad.
Bat Dude, I'd agree with Asimov, but I don't think you can handle love quite yet. I'll show you. I'll show both of you. I'm 100 times the lover you guys will ever be.
Bat Dude, you don't even know what love is.
Sure I do. Love is when two lovers sit at a lovely table with a big plate of burritos, taquitos, and nachos with the purple onions in them, and they look each other in the eyes over a mug of frosty cold root beer. After dinner, they give each other a big sloppy kiss and retire to the living room to play Battleship. That is what love is. Wrong! After you eat, you have that nasty onion breath. You brush your teeth, rinse and spit, floss, rinse and spit, gargle mouthwash, spit, then you give her a sloppy kiss. That, my friend, is love.
You're both wrong.
Alright, smarty transistor, what is love then?
Love is an abstract concept that describes the feeling of affection and compatibility between two or more consensual partners. The existence of love itself is purely subjective to the individual or individuals.
So what you're saying is that there is no real wrong answer?
Technically.
And that means you're wrong about me being wrong, and my idea of love is superior to Bat Dude's.
Again, the idea of love is entirely subjective.
Horse hockey! I'm a superior lover, and you guys are dead in the water! Hi-yo! Oh well, there's always plenty of potential bachelorettes at the Trek convention.
Hey, I can always take a gander at the robot from Metropolis.
Y'all do that. Thanks for joining us, folks, and stay tuned for next week when we watch Vincent Price in the 1964 classic, The Last Man on Earth. This is Madman Bob signing off for now, and I will catch you guys in the Insane Asylum. Stay insane, my friends.